Hi, everyone. My name is Kathe Petchel, and I am with Hinge Advisors, and I am going to present today some strategies for staff engagement. We're coming out of a couple of years of a lot of challenges with staffing, and many of us have really pivoted to doing different things relating to our staff. And I think we've done really well being super creative and working really hard on engaging with our staff before they even consider joining us, and then engaging with them, getting them oriented and trained as quickly and effectively as possible, and then engaging with them throughout the time that they're with us. I'm going to talk today a little bit about strategies for staff engagement and sort of a little bit of background about the generations we've got at our schools right now and different ways we can customize for different staff. Again, I'm Kathe Petchel. I am in client relations at Hinge Advisors, and I'm going to offer you a couple handouts at the end of this session that you're more than welcome to email me for. My email will be on the slide at the end, but just so you know, it's kpetchel@hingeadvisors.com. Let's get started. So I like to talk about this because it's really a unique time for us in our industry and in our country. Right now, there are 5 generations in the workplace, which is pretty unprecedented. And they are so different. Each one couldn't be more different than the one before or after them. So I'm going to review with you a little bit about the 5 generations because it has everything to do with the way we would engage with our staff in the workplace. And hopefully when I talk to you about this, even if you know a little bit of this information, I'm hoping you'll have a few aha moments in terms of, oh, maybe I should try this method with this particular generation. And again, this is very general. Everyone is different. I've had Gen Zers that definitely act more like a boomer or even a traditionalist. And I'll have millennials that really resonate with a Gen Z. So take it for what you can, thinking about the staff you've got on your team right now, and you know what's an aha for you. So the first and oldest generation we have are the traditionalists, and they're the ones that are the World War II generation, and they're the older staff members. They're typically about 70, 60, late 60s to in the up to 80s. I actually have a traditionalist on my team named Miss Tina, and we just took her to a fancy steakhouse for an 80th birthday dinner. The traditionalists are the strongest work ethic, and they're your legacies. If you want to remember old-fashioned Mother Goose activities and all kinds of the songs and finger plays you may have let go of over the years, or old-fashioned art projects, anything that a legacy staff member can do for you, you want to try to save that because they're not going to be with you forever. At some point they will retire, and they're just amazing to work with. They pretty much come to work every day. They do like to mentor the younger staff. They're far enough away in age from a younger staff, they end up being more of a parent figure or a grandparent figure to particularly your millennials and your Gen Zers. They are going to not shout from a rooftop, kudos for them. They're put their head down and get the job done. I love the traditionalists. The baby boomers is the next generation. They have a really strong work ethic as well. The baby boomers now and nationally have started to retire early. During COVID, we lost a ton of baby boomers for different reasons, mostly because of aging parents, or just tired of working so many hours. The baby boomers, again, have a really strong work ethic. They like the monetary rewards, but they also really want flexible retirement and schedules. So if you can maybe get a baby boomer that worked at an elementary school, for instance, and a lot of public schools have lost a lot of teachers. We know that maybe could do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays for you, or come in as a sub, or possibly do curriculum development for you. That'd be a really good fit for a baby boomer because they may not want to work 5 days full time. Next generation is Gen X. Those are the original latchkey kids. They definitely want public kudos, and they want to be communicated with very effectively. They're going to ask questions, and they'll be very flexible in the workplace. They appreciate telecommuting, which is not something we can do in our industry, but they also appreciate tuition reimbursement. They, along with the millennials, are still our parent consumers. Gen Z is starting to be our parent consumers. Gen X also likes authority or likes to be in charge. They want leadership. And so if you're interviewing a Gen Z or Gen X, you want to ask them, their career goals and where they want to go. They may want leadership roles. Maybe they're going to be an opener or a closer for you. Maybe they want to be an assistant director or come right in as a director, but they're going to also appreciate any kind of benefits and especially flexibility, because a Gen X typically has children heading to college. So financial benefits do matter. And then typically they'll also have elderly parents. So they're kind of like squished in between children they're still having to take care of and fund financially, as well as parents who are aging. Gen Y, those are our millennials. Our millennials, they used to be the most interesting generation in my mind. Now Gen Z is totally taken over, but a Gen Y or a millennial, they ask why. That's the generation that got stickers for participating in things. We're on the soccer team and you got a trophy. That sort of did not serve us well, because they're a little bit needier in terms of how did I do? They want a lot of feedback and they want to be a part of the conversation kind of continually. Again, big generalization, but they're more informal with their communication, and they're also very savvy with social media. That leads me to Gen Z, who are the most savvy with communication, especially on social media. They have an attention span of 8 seconds. They can maneuver 5 different gadgets or screens at once. And, they're Johnny on the spot. If you say you're going to do something and you don't, they're going to hold you accountable. And if you state something, they're going to immediately research and make sure what you're saying is true. So if you're talking about policies or regulations or, anything, they're going to do their due diligence very quickly. So you want to make sure that you're really clear with the Generation Z of your expectations and really an open conversation with Gen Z. They like in person, they like public praise, and they want to learn. They also will leave you very quickly if there's a better opportunity, not just a better job opportunity, but a better opportunity for travel or, going on a long weekend to the beach. So Gen Z is typically, or right now, 10 years old to 24. So of course, I'm focusing on the 18 to 24-year-olds for Generation Z. And what's also absolutely compelling, and really not talking about that as much in this particular video, but hopefully another one I can focus on Generation Z and all things Gen Z. But their experiences during COVID were really unique, and they had a lot of losses during COVID. That's the generation, if you're thinking right now, they're 18 to 24. Their middle school and high school were terribly impacted by COVID. Their routine and a lot of losses, not just people being ill or fear about COVID, but also those milestones that all of us in older generations enjoyed. The prom, beach week, graduations, weddings, all of those things that happened during COVID that they missed, graduations, which were drive by the school and pick up your diploma and the teachers are waving flags and cheering for you, is not a typical graduation. So Gen Z had a lot of losses, and Gen Z also has reported much more anxiety and depression coming out of COVID. It's sort of rampant right now, and you're welcome to email me. I've got quite a bit of information about it. I just heard a speaker from Yale speak about the impact on all the generations coming out of COVID and some of the studies that have been done, and super interesting information. doesn't matter which generation, everyone wants to be appreciated and recognized in some way or another. I had one teacher, Miss Jessie, at one of my schools, and oh my gosh, I publicly recognized her for doing an amazing job in the baby room, and she was mortified. She did not want me to talk about her. I learned very quickly to privately recognize her, give her a card, talk to her in person, give her a hug, give her some type of appreciation, gift or card or coffee cards or whatever. But it depends, and that's not generation specific. That's really more personality specific. And it's also sort of family of origin specific. How were you appreciated in your family? Did you get lots of words of kudos? Did you get gifts? Did you get, pats on the back or, high fives? Typically, people really like what they remember from their childhood. I will tell you that there's five languages of appreciation. And the first one is gifts. I don't know why, but people are always embarrassed to say their favorite is a gift. And I mean, I have people like giggle whenever they say, oh yeah, I want gifts. Just give me a gift instead of kudos. So gifts could be a tangible gift, which would be, the coffee card, the chocolate bars, maybe really knowing and recognizing what they like. What are their hobbies? Do they like books? Do they like, moments? What kind of gifts could you give them that, it doesn't necessarily have to cost us a lot of money. It could just be, a craft activity or a gift of, I know you really want to do more arts and crafts in your classroom, or you're doing a Spanish unit and I got you more Spanish materials for your class. So anything like that would be considered a gift. I like to just I have a document and I'm happy to share it. It's from, I forgot to tell you, I have 3 schools of my own. I have 3 locations in Virginia. And so this is actually one that I use with my team. Actually, on the onboarding process, I asked them to name their number 1 language of appreciation and give them definitions of what that would be. What does quality time mean? What does an act of service mean? And then they highlight their first and their second language of appreciation. And we asked them to give us a few ideas of how they could be appreciated at our school. So gifts is the first one. Words of affirmation is the second one. Words of affirmation are just kudos. Way to go, job well done. I love the way you handled Tommy today. I saw the way you redirected. That was amazing. Or thank you so much. Had a girl, Sam, trying so darn hard to get to work on time every day. And I challenged her and said, let's see if you can make it on time tomorrow. Boy, that's all it took, a little challenge. And the next morning she came in 5 minutes early, came right to my office and said, it was 5 minutes early. Words of affirmation. Oh my gosh, way to go, Sam. We did something really fun at our school this fall. And it was anytime we caught them doing something kind of outstanding, not really normal. Outstanding for Sam was arriving to work early. We just did like the little tickets, like the drawing kind of tickets, raffle tickets. And I just put her name on the back of a ticket and said, early to school or early bird. Put them all in a goldfish bowl. And at the end of every week, we drew for a prize. One prize was $50, and actually she got the prize. We allowed all the teachers to do kudos in the form of a ticket thanking a coworker for doing something above and beyond. And that really helps with culture when it's not just you as the owner or director, but it's the team and developing the culture with the team. One of the gals, so we would read the the reasons why people got the ticket, and then they would present it to each other at our Monday night staff meeting. And one of our gals got 5 tickets, just sitting in the room from the rest of the team. So that's a really easy way to words of affirmation and then give a fun prize. The next week, the prize was like the biggest bag of Halloween candy. This was in October, that you have ever seen, like a $20 bag of Halloween candy. And so that was a really fun prize too. Next one is quality time. Quality time drives us crazy because we're already struggling with time management. We're really struggling with finding enough time to complete our tasks, make sure we're in compliance with licensing and following our policies, and this tour and following up on, an interview and so on. And so quality time is a really hard one for us to give. But when people want quality time, it doesn't have to be a long time. It could be just a 5-minute. Hey, before you leave for the day, let's just sit down and go over, chat, go over your curriculum questions. Or quality time could be, let's go to lunch. So anything quality time gives them that personal knowledge that they're appreciated and their ideas are heard. And being heard is really important to teachers. I mean, in our industry, we're caregivers and nurturers. And so being recognized and, that we're making a difference and, we're a valued member of the team really matters. So that would be quality time. Acts of service, that could be helping put down the nap mats at nap time on one of those days where, everybody's, grumpy at the kiddos, or you've got 2 new children in a classroom and the teacher's really struggling with one of them to get them down for nap mat, and patting backs and whatnot, and you can go help with another one. So acts of service also could be, you worked really hard today. I'm going to go ahead and close up your room and get your room ready for tomorrow. Just something little like a 5-minute, 10-minute act of service. Maybe they missed a deadline on something with a day note for, we do virtual day notes, and most people do, I think. And maybe they missed doing a couple. Maybe finish it for them. That would be another example of an act of service. And then touch, high fives, pat on the back, handshake, hug. Obviously that's like in this day and age, you kind of have to get permission for that. But we're teachers and we're nurturers, so people will choose that. My recommendation is to have everyone identify their preferred language of appreciation in a staff meeting, and then divide them up into different parts of the room. Here's the people that really appreciate gifts. So it's a very transparent conversation. These guys love words of affirmation. This group wants quality time. And so it's really kind of an open book test for the rest of the team, the rest of their colleagues, the teachers and TAs, to understand that maybe if I give that, I will get it back as well. I also like to just take pictures of each group and then just have it on my phone or print it out. And then I can remember more easily. You can put it in your phone in your notes section as well. Who likes gifts? Who likes words of affirmation? And it's just kind of a little cheat sheet so that you're really staying intentional about appreciating your team. My pro tip is be cautious. Knowing what your language of appreciation is does not mean that everyone else's is that. My personal one is words of affirmation. I like my kudos. I like to be recognized that, I'm putting in full effort. And so if I do that with someone that does not care about that, they really just want a gift, they kind of think you're blowing a little bit of smoke, because to them, that doesn't resonate. What resonates to them is that Starbucks card. And be careful, it's Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or Caribou Coffee. What is their favorite coffee? It's coffee. I had one director say, if I get one more darn coffee card, or I can't wait to get coffee cards for my director to get coffee cards because she always gives them to me. So again, gifts, it needs to be what is important to them as well. Moving on to really interesting World Happiness Report. It's kind of one of my favorite research reports for 2022. There's a World Happiness Day every year. It's in March, and it's started by the World Happiness Foundation, and I think it was UNESCO. I gotta check on that. But what was interesting was they poll people in all different countries throughout the world for their level of happiness. So it's individuals reporting to the company, and then calculate or tabulate all the scores. And typically the countries that have the highest world happiness would be Finland's usually number 1, Denmark, Sweden. You get Iceland in there. You're going to get the countries that are more isolated, somewhat cold weather countries. And there's factors that have everything to do with why they cite that. And the factors are perceptions of corruption, so like political unrest. Is there just a culture of generosity? Does the country or the work allow freedom to make life choices? For instance, healthcare or retirement, or is it more of a dictatorial or dystopian type environment? Do they have every reason to believe they're going to have a healthy life? That would be the medical care piece. Social support, and that wouldn't just be financial. That would be sort of the small things, friendships. And then the gross national, the per capita gross national product, the finances of the country. So those are factors. And if we think about those, and I think America was 15 or 16 this year, but what's interesting about it is, what can we do in terms of what happened in 2019 versus what was found in 2022. So in 2019, think about it. We hadn't heard of COVID yet, and we were just going along. Our centers were pretty full. We were always working on enrollment, of course, and always, curriculum, outdoor classrooms, Spanish, immersion classes. We were, moving along. We were, we thought we were progressing, and then COVID hit. So then the world shuts down, our schools shut down. We have to absolutely pivot. And so during 2019, before COVID, what employees said they wanted and what made them happy at work was flexibility, raise my pay, I want more benefits, I want flexibility, somewhat me. Fast forward to 2021 and 2022, it's all about relationships. This is where we come in. They want to be included. Think about, it's kind of obvious why. Everyone was so isolated during COVID. Everyone had a lot of fears. They had fears about their health, their family's health. Should I have the vaccination? Should I not? Should I give it to my child or not? I've got a homeschool. Are you kidding me? How can I do my job? And so they were so isolated that the number one aha and takeaway after COVID is inclusion. That makes it really easy for us. We want to talk to staff when they come in. Remember, I talked about Gen Z a minute ago and what they suffered during COVID. You want to have an open dialogue with them and say, tell me about your experience during COVID. Were you isolated? And then remember, I gave you stats about the mental health issues, particularly Gen Z, that they're reporting very high levels of anxiety and depression. So again, that has to do with the isolation and other factors, of course, all the fears. So if we can work on including our staff, and so that they don't want to call out, or someone from work reaches out to them besides the boss, why can't you come in today? But someone like, I missed you at lunch today, or I missed you. You didn't get to do our blueberry muffin project, and that sincere inclusion really makes a difference. So other creative ideas, and I'm trying to focus again on inclusion. How can we make everyone rally around, best practices for staff engagement? Because if staff are engaged, they're going to be happy, and if they're happy, they're going to stay. And if most people are happy, that kind of permeates throughout your team. And if someone has a bump of a day or feels a little discouraged, they'll be able to help them with that. Sorry, I'm going to give you a minute to look at this list. So the first thing would be not just taking my list, but asking them, what would be fun for you to do as a team? Remember, I talked earlier about the 5 languages of appreciation and the 5 generations in the workplace. They're all going to have different answers. But one really fun thing would be once a month, do sunshine in a box. It's a big Amazon box. It's empty. You wrap yellow paper and you put all kinds of fun things inside the box. It's at the desk or your lobby when they walk in, and the teachers open it and fun items are there. And they could just be, seasonal. It could be, wrapped packages for each person, just dollar store kind of things. It could be much more complicated than that, or it could be maybe your cozy clothing items. About sweatshirts for everyone. And, they're in the sunshine in a box. Everybody's got sweatshirts. The weather's turning cold. That would be a great example of what to put in sunshine in a box. The human bubble or body balls, that's a really fun night we did. We have a field in front of one of our schools. It's like a big soccer field. And, they're those blow up bubble balls. Just Google it and you'll see. And sort of just a game, kind of like a soccer game, but wearing those. That's a little different than a ropes course, although I also like ropes courses. We on the Hinge team do amazing team events. And we did a teaming event at Clemson University several years ago. So if you've got a university or a college nearby, maybe check out what they can offer, or just different coaches in your area could do really fun teaming events. Other good staff events, a game night. I was working with a group in New Jersey about several months ago, and they love bingo. And so they'll do staff bingo on the cleanest room, or staff bingo on people knowing answers to licensing quizzes. They'll do, and then you could also do like a bowling night or a movie night. So for instance, when I was researching Gen Z, I found out that Gen Z love certain types of movies. So they like all the Marvel movies. And so, hey, we're doing a Marvel movie night. Who wants to go? You're going to have your Gen Zs lined up. Gen Zs also love Oreos. There's more information on that that's super interesting. But maybe find out, again, what are the ways you can appreciate your staff? But there are there's really cool research for each generation, and also really fun, creative, engaging things to do with your staff. Oh, and I'm running out of time. And then just having a craft night or creating essential oil roller balls. I'm planning to do a parent night where it's going to be clay and cocktails. I would not do cocktails with your team because of liability, but I would with parents. But maybe you're teaching loose parts and you're going to do a whole loose parts event with your teachers. Let's all bring in loose parts we can find. Let's collect them for the next 2 weeks and let's share loose parts. Emergency kits for teachers, that's not just the Band-Aids and Tylenol and rollerballs for headaches. It's the chocolate, it's the, maybe like funny comic books or fun pens and paper. What do they like? Dollar store or Target, $1, $5, $3 items. And then a team retreat, an official retreat as well. Also great idea for really downtime. And I think we're wrapping up. I am very happy to answer any questions. My phone number and email are on this slide. I'd love to hear from you. If you like any of these ideas and things, strike you as this works, this doesn't work, please let me know. And I look forward to talking to all of you soon. Thank you so much.